Hey, man.
Hey, John. How's it going?
Good. It's good to see you.
Good to see you as well. It's been a little while.
It's been a little while. Sorry about missing last week. We had a bunch of stuff going on with the family.
No problem.
How's everything in your world?
I guess as good as can be expected. Tori had homecoming this past weekend.
Yeah.
So thankfully they won the game. That's always a good way to start.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously they had the dance and everything that comes with that. And of course, you see your daughter get dressed up in the fancy dress, and you're just kind of like, all right, put those feelings off to the side, type of thing. But it sounded like she had a good time. What was crazy, it sounded like that in their group, they were maybe on the dance floor for a couple of songs, and the rest of the time they were outside hanging out in the courtyard, just talking and having fun.
Awesome.
I didn't do that when I went, so that was a little different to me.
Yeah.
So there's good pictures. I know Michelle's put some stuff on Facebook. You may or may not have seen that.
I saw a couple.
So, struggling with the idea of a daughter growing up.
Yeah, no, my 12-year-old put on her homecoming overalls this morning and went to school, and I was like, oh no.
It's coming.
But Daddy's still the one buying her a mom right now, so I feel okay about it. It's fine.
There you go.
It's fine. You're pretending. You can pretend all the way to 35 years old, baby.
There you go. Yes, absolutely.
Goodness. So what are you drinking?
I am rolling the dice. This is the Real Ale Brewing Company Commissar, although they may pronounce it differently, Commissar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a risk on another Russian Imperial Stout. It's 9.8% by volume.
Yeah.
It is unfiltered, so that's probably not going to go well for me. Only in Texas.
Okay.
Trying to look at some of their label. Unpasteurized. I'm taking a risk.
Unpasteurized.
Do they have any blurb here? I know last time we didn't read the blurbs.
Yeah, we didn't read the blurb. Read the blurb.
Let's see. It's got a couple of different blurbs. Why not? This noble brew evolved from its common cousins, porter and stout, to endure the long voyage to the Russian royal court. Ooh, that makes me think of IPA, and so this could go bad.
Long voyage doesn't make me feel good.
No, it doesn't. And then the last bit says, working in the hill country from a foundation of time-honored brewing tradition, Real Ale believes minimal processing produces maximum flavor.
Nice.
I think I'll be the judge on that.
Yeah, right.
So
you get to be the judge of that.
Yep. Time for the opening. It's a good one. What do you got, John?
So now present time me, did not consider this. So I get to be the beneficiary of me in the past, and I had some Guinness Extra Stout saved up in the back of my refrigerator.
There you go.
So
That's
I'm pretty excited right now because I
have the opener though, right?
I actually thought I was out of beer. I don't, but I'm just going to pop it on the back.
I'm not there to give you the opener.
You're not here to give me the opener here. I'm going to try it on the desk. It worked.
Nice.
I'm just saying, never afraid to slam a beer on a corner, John Redfern.
Well done.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers, man.
All right, how you doing over there?
It's not as bad as old Rasputin.
Well, not Mitch is.
Oh, wait a minute. That was super delayed.
Super delayed bitterness or super delayed?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really sorry, man.
Oh, I've got a backup, but I'm going to try to power through this.
I don't know. What's your backup?
I mean, I made it through Rasputin, so I think I can get through this.
Okay, that's true.
I would say this will be the end of my journey with Russian Imperial Stouts.
Yeah, I'm gonna put Russians in the same place as Indians at this point. Like,
yes.
No, we're not doing Russians, and we're not doing IPAs.
No. I'm not made for that.
Yikes. So, I mean, it's good to know. It's good to know these things. That's why we try different beers, right?
Yeah, exactly. We got to let people know.
If you don't ever try it,
they can't all be great beers, but you don't know till you try it.
Right. Exactly.
Man, here we go.
Mercy. Hey, that conversation, I guess it was 3 weeks ago now.
Yes.
With Jason was pretty awesome.
Yes, it was. It was good to get him on the show.
I'm just saying we may have to do that again because it's like that guy belongs here.
Yes. He is top notch in what he does. I have total faith in what he brings to the table, what he feels is right to do. His background that he brings in from installation days and tinkering, to now he's been at Pine Cove now for over 10 years.
Yeah.
So
I love that about him, that he's a tinkerer.
Yes.
Us tinkerers need to stick together.
Yes, we do.
I got to try that. I want to see what that's like.
So I know he would be more than willing to come back for another show.
We love you, Jason. Thanks for coming on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, just talking to him about audio over Ethernet using some of the infrastructure that is already going to be there when we're building buildings. But even like we've got there's another building that we've got going up, and thinking about like if we need to have multiple runs of certain things in place for things like this. That's definitely in my head now. Like if we wanted to separate it even further than VLAN, like that might be a thing. So
yeah, I like the idea of when you're running fiber, you're going to try to pull more strands than you need. So the idea of giving some dedicated glass just to audio, and even for video if need be, I think I'm a huge fan of that.
Yeah, I mean, we want to, as in the IT and AV world, we want to. I was telling somebody this the other day. I can't remember who. We want to eliminate points of failure. You're always trying to simplify as much as you can, but you also, like what you're fighting against inside of that is you want to be as flexible as you can in that as well.
Yeah.
And so running multiple cables means that you don't have, you're always going to wish that there was one more cable.
Sure.
I don't know how to explain that to everybody. It seems like you can just count up what you need, but even when you do that, like there's always going to be that, I just wish we had 2 more Cat 5s in that, or 6s. I mean, like we just wish that there was always a little bit more.
Yep.
We had a little bit more bandwidth. We have a little bit more space, a little bit more RAM, whatever the thing is.
Yep.
It's kind of the way that it goes, because there's always going to be that question.
Yep. We ran into that, I guess, right before summer. If you remember way back when we were pulling fiber at the Woods Camp, we pulled 2 12s from what was the old office to the vault outside that was the annex / IT office.
I remember that.
So 24 strands.
24 strands.
That's a good chunk of fiber.
It is.
So we did that 2010, 2012, something in that range.
Yeah, it was on the back side of the, not backside, it was like the fence side of the parking lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember that.
We have now, here we are, what, 12 years later.
Yeah, 12 to 14.
We wish we'd pulled more than 24. Just because all the buildings that have been added, the connectivity.
Yeah, that's so nuts.
And it's just like, yeah, we just don't have enough.
It is kind of funny the way that camp has
grown to one side.
Grown to one side. Yeah, I was about to say sprawled, and then I was like, that's not right, because it didn't. There's no really. Like, it didn't go across the lake very much.
No, they're borrowing from the city planners of Tyler. Put it all in one spot.
Oh man. Oh gosh. Anyway, always exciting. Yeah, on that side of things. But just the flexibility that the even just the Audinate, the Dante gear that he was showing us of being able to do, even if it's just two channels, like that gives you so much flexibility with where you're sending audio. And it's amazing to me how often I get like, just in my mind, what are in my mind very random requests for like the sermon audio at different parts of the campus.
Yep.
And so knowing that exists is going to be, I think, a game changer in the future of being able to say yes to things like that. Whereas before, if you're not in two of our buildings, there's not really a way for me to give you that audio. But now there are. So
yep.
I may have to go down that road. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Unifi.
Yeah, let's do. So, did you get that shared with you?
And I put it on the other page.
It's okay. So, yeah, we're going to run through
Spaces.
Gateways tonight.
Yep.
It's changed a lot in just a few years. So, we'll throw out a couple of older ones that we're not, I know I'm personally not too far removed from using, and we're not too far removed from using the one at the church. And then we'll kind of go into the more recent additions, and then some of the new little gateways that they've come out with that are pretty powerful.
So talk to me about gateways, because I think it's aptly named. It's not something that I think would be too much of a stretch for people that don't know what that device is.
Correct.
When you think of a gate, you think of like a
point of entry.
Point of entry, big front door.
Yep.
Security.
Yep.
Like those words come to mind. So what is a gateway doing?
So, I guess we'll start with the old, and then we'll kind of go into the new. So the old gateways, when you say firewall, that's really what those were, because that was pre Unifi OS. All this thing did was network, nothing else. So I guess we moved into the house in 2019, right before COVID. So at that time, I had the first one on the list here, just the standard USG, literally small enough it fits in the palm of your hand. $129, really cheap entry there. Had a whopping dual core 500 megahertz CPU. They didn't say what model of CPU. It had a two gigs of flash for basically.
They're not proud of that.
Yeah, basically 2 gigs of flash for keeping the network OS on it, with a whopping 512 meg of RAM. So a lot of processing power there.
Megs.
Yes, it did have 4 ports. One of those is a dedicated console, dedicated WAN, dedicated LAN, and a VoIP port.
Wow.
But you could turn that VoIP port into another LAN port if you needed to.
That's interesting. They had a dedicated VoIP. This is almost like a make a mobile office here.
Yeah,
situation.
That, or you could have brought in a PRI.
Yes.
And deliver that into here and do some of that. So it had 1 gig of WAN throughput, but if you turned on intrusion detection and prevention, it craters to 75 megabits per second. So significant loss if you want to be secure. So that was the caveat to that.
Wow.
Yeah. And at that point in time, I couldn't get more than 100 meg here anyways. So it was like, well, 75 will do just fine.
Right.
So, and then the next one is what we had at the church.
I mean, yeah. What are you getting at your house now?
I'm now, recently, they gave us a free bump. We are 500 down, 30 up, because we used to be 100 down, more like 7 to 8 up.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, that's only in 4 years.
Yep.
5 years.
Well, they've got Vexus knocking on their door.
Right. Gotta move it.
AT&T Fiber is building out, so they got to start moving or they're going to lose customers.
Yep.
So that next one on the list was the USG Pro. That one is a full 1U unit, slap it in the rack. Dual core, 1 gigahertz CPU, double the flash memory to 4 gig, quadruple on the RAM to go up to 2 gig. And it was a bump from the smaller one, had DDR2, that one's DDR3. Mm-hmm. You had 8 ports in total, a console, and a USB-A that also could be used as console, 2 LAN ports, 2 WAN ports, and 2 1 gig SFPs. That one was, again, the same 1 gig throughput, and when you turned on intrusion detection prevention, it stayed 1 gig. That was the real win with that model. You didn't sacrifice throughput for security. Yeah.
I want to jump back real quickly to where you said you slap it in the rack. I sent you that piece of gear. I sent you and Jason that piece of gear from, I don't even remember who makes it, but how have we not had this before now?
Oh yeah, for installing equipment. Yeah, that was pretty nice.
For everybody who has stood with one arm holding a server or, some 50-pound, piece of gear up with one hand while you're trying to screw in safety screws and they're falling off the bit.
Yes, they are.
Like, I cannot tell you. It's just, guys, for those of you that are installing in any situation, we got to find it real quick.
I was trying to look it up. It's the name is was weird, and I know Jason kind of caught this. It's made by Patchbox, but it's the Setup.exe version 3.
Okay, put that in the show notes because I just want people to know that this exists, because even if you just can create one for yourself, because honestly, as soon as I saw it, I was like, why the heck did I not figure this out before now?
Yep.
Because it's not like it's a mystery where you're putting something in. You just need something to just hold it for a second while you get the screws started.
Yep. It's only $250, and that saves you needing a second person.
This, and I agree with Jason. This is like an essential piece of gear now. I don't know if I'm going to get back to installing a whole lot, but if I do, man, I'm buying that first.
Yeah, I mean, there's even some of our Cisco switches that are pretty beefy, and to have had this would have been amazing.
Just so nice. I mean, I did amps, man. Like Class A amps too. I didn't start when they were Class D.
Yep.
Like it. Golly, they were heavy, and you're just sitting there.
Hurry. Yes.
And oh my gosh, I put it on the wrong hole. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep. So yeah, that
Game changer.
That was a good find.
Y'all check that out for sure. Sorry. So
no, you're good. So we were wrapping up
USG
what I have
Pro
on here listed as pre-Unifi OS.
Yeah. And then
there were possibly models that are older than this.
Yeah.
But again, these models even predated 2019. They'd been out for a while.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go too far back, but these were within the last 4 to 5 years.
I feel like if you go much further back, then you are using the word firewall.
Yeah, pretty much.
Very much so.
Pretty much. So from there, we make some significant leaps ahead. They moved into the Unifi OS model, if you will. Unifi OS, just for those who don't know, that is your network app, that's your Protect video app, that's your access for door control, your identity pieces in there. Trying to think of some of the others.
They've added to this.
Yep.
Over time. This is their stable of offerings of connection.
Correct. So they jumped up into the original Dream Machine. When it came out, it was an interesting idea. Kind of looked like a Mac Pro trash can.
Still have one of these.
Yes.
Not the Mac Pro trash can. Those things. Things did not last.
No. So
the
again,
trash can was anyway.
Yeah. So this is a cylinder-shaped device, and it has a kind of a dome on top, like one of their APs.
Yeah.
It was Wi-Fi 5 because that was the most current at the time. You got dual-core Cortex A57 at 1.7 gigahertz, significant step up. 16 gigs of flash, 2 gigs of RAM, had 4 ports. I'm sorry, it's 5 ports, 1 WAN, 4 LAN, full gigabit throughput, even with intrusion detection and prevention. Really nice, all in one unit, but you could still add additional devices. It wasn't like you bought this and you were stuck and you couldn't do anything else.
No.
So.
Yeah, we still have one of these.
I think Cody may have got rid of his, but I remember when this came out, he jumped into one of those as well. So there was a lot of these floating around. And then not too long after that, they brought out the Dream Machine Pro. And it was like, oh, you're starting to talk my language. So again, we're basically, think that cylinder in a 1U rack unit. Yeah. And so these specs are going to get a little bit more nerdier from here. So we're cranking the knob. Those of you that don't like,
this thing goes to 11.
Yes, it does. If you don't like hearing this, I'm sorry. Maybe see you next episode.
Yeah, right.
Or put us on 2x speed.
There you go.
So, so again, this is a full 1U, 33 magic number, 33 watts of total maximum power consumption, which is not bad considering what it does. You could do up to 100 devices and up to 1,000 clients.
Yeah.
It was also the introduction of the little touchscreen on the front.
Yeah, the little 1-inch touchscreen.
Swipe through and see some stats of what's going on. Jumped up to a quad-core Cortex A57, 1.7 gigahertz. Again, 16 gigs of flash, 4 gigs of RAM, 11 ports, 2 WAN. One of those is regular copper RJ45. The other is a 1 gig SFP. You've got 9 LAN ports. 8 of those are copper, 1 SFP. Really kicked up the throughput to 3.5 gigabits per second.
Yeah.
And that is with intrusion detection and prevention turned on.
Yeah, I don't remember there being 11 ports on that thing. I would have said 8. That's crazy.
Yeah. And again, this runs the full Unifi OS suite. So all of those applications. Talk is one that I forgot a while ago. Talk is included in that. So you've got your network in here, camera controls, access control, your telephone. I mean, you name it. All of their applications, all controlled out of one device. With these, you didn't have to have a cloud key anymore. Right. The original 2, you had to have a cloud key in order to...
Yeah, we jumped from the cloud key to this.
Yes. Yeah. So, and then they sat on that model for a while.
Yeah, it had a few problems with processing.
Yes.
I know it said it had 4 gigs. When you're doing talk and network on that with 4 gigs, it really did struggle. Like
correct.
We weren't high volume calls either, and it just didn't. It seemed like it was constantly in the 65% range, 70% range of being able to handle what was being thrown at it, and it's just not a good place to be.
No, and even before we added talk, it was still struggling. There were days that we would just have to reboot the box.
Yeah,
That it was just and you had lots of issues getting into the interface to try to manage it. You would just sit there and then say, hey, this is taking longer than expected to load. So, but they kind of learned from that. And then they brought out a reasonable upgrade to it. The Dream Machine Special Edition. In case I didn't say that that Dream Machine Pro was $379 and the Dream Machine was $199. The Dream Machine Special Edition jumps up to $499. So essentially that same 1U unit, a little more maximum power consumption at 50 watts. 100 devices, 1,000 clients, the same little touch screen, essentially the same processor, same flash, same memory, but they integrated 128 gigs of SSD that you could use for Protect if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But performance on this, even though it was essentially the same hardware,
was way better.
Night and day difference.
Yeah.
Night and day.
So somebody ran the power cable over or parallel to the network cable, and they didn't do the night amateur hour.
Yes. Yeah.
IT quote for some of you.
Yeah. The big gain with this is that it did add PoE to those built-in copper ports that the other Pro did not. So you had a total PoE budget of 180 watts. 6 ports would run standard PoE. 2 of those could run PoE plus. So standard PoE is 15.4 watts, something in that range. We'll just call it 15. PoE plus bumps you up to 30. 3.5 gig WAN throughput with the I need to make an adjustment. I say 1 gig with, but that's right. 3.5 gig WAN throughput, 1 gig with IDS, IPS turned on. And then it also included a single hard drive bay specifically for Protect. So if you wanted to store a lot of recordings, you could buy whatever size terabyte drive you want, slap it in, it'll format it, start using it right away. You're good to go.
The Pro didn't even have the bay for it?
I don't remember it being
That's
there.
Interesting. I would have thought that it had the bay, but maybe not, because this one was the one that actually came with the with 128 gigs. Like,
I'm going to make sure I didn't miss it.
There.
The Pro.
No, so that was a Dream Machine
bay.
Huh?
The Pro does have 1 hard drive bay. I just missed that.
I thought you could add a hard drive bay to the Pro. We didn't do that whenever we had ours. Like I said, it was struggling before, so it wouldn't have helped us to add something else to what was going on there. But we did start using the bay for when we bought the special edition. We started using the bay. We actually had one of these destroyed by a lightning strike.
I think we had a couple.
That was the special editions? I thought we had a Pro and a special edition.
I think it was a couple of the Pros.
Okay.
And then, we had a special edition, and then we had to have some folks come in and do some grounding.
Not cool, fellas. Yeah, Make sure that your buildings, especially the building that you're running your network from,
correct,
has been grounded properly.
And it still doesn't help that when your internet provider comes in, that they don't even ground their own service.
Yeah, that was bad too. But we're not naming any names.
Nope.
Then they came out with a Dream router.
Yes,
so special edition's $499. Dream router is only $200.
Yeah, because the Dream router is really a refresh to the original Dream machine.
Yeah.
So same cylinder shape, same AP dome on top.
But it got the 1-inch screen.
Yes, it does have a 1-inch screen.
Very important.
Yes. Changed to the Cortex A53 at 1.35 gigahertz. I believe they upped the flash. Let's confirm. 16 gigs? No, flash stayed the same. Maybe it was the RAM. Nope. I'll say the same 5 ports, 1 WAN, 4 LAN.
There's no micro SD slot on the first Dream machine.
No.
So you can upgrade. SD, not SSD. You could expand that memory on board. 5 ports the same, 1 WAN and 4 LAN. You were saying?
Yep. So you still get full gig throughput on your WAN side if you would have IDS IPS on. This does add PoE, something the original didn't.
Yeah.
2 ports, 40. That's the catch, is you've only got 40 watts of total. So if you did have a PoE plus device, you have one. You're stuck because you've only got 10 watts left, and standard PoE is 15. But if you had 2 standard PoE, you would be just fine. Yeah. And then the other advancement is they went from Wi-Fi 5 to Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah, and I'd say like this little box is still like, this is a great home option for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is, and that's still not a bad price at $199, because there's a lot of the Netgear Nighthawk line that's exceeds even that price. Yeah,
and I like Unifi's UI.
Oh yeah, and then this is where their Apple starts to become noticeable. No, because these guys are former Apple employees.
Yeah, so they took a they took a page out of the naming. Yeah, I don't understand it. It's to me it's like too much
attention to the gentleman that I call Tom Collins.
It's like people who say tiny little. They call something tiny little, and we call now everything is a Pro Max or a Pro Ultra or an Ultra Max or something like it. I don't know. It just is. Anyway,
it's bad marketing. That's what it is.
I don't think it is going to be dated very quickly. And
absolutely.
I don't know why they did it, but it is what it is.
So you get the Dream Machine Pro Max,
$599.
The only thing that they haven't talked about coming yet is the Pro Max Ultra, but I'm sure it's in the pipeline.
I mean, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Why would they skip over that?
Yeah. So again, this stays a 1U unit, bumps up to 100 watts of maximum power consumption, but you get a bump on to 200 devices and 2,000 users. Same convenient little touchscreen. They do kick you up to the Cortex A57 at 2 gigahertz, so a little more processing out of it. Yeah. You do get a doubling from 16 to 32 gigs in the flash, and a double from 4 to 8 gigs in the RAM, and it also kicks it up to DDR4. You've still got the integrated 128 gig SSD if you want to use that for Protect. Again, 11 ports, but there is some improvements here. The WAN port, you do get a 2.5 gig capable port. Obviously, 2.5 gig can roll back to 1 gig or whatever it needs to.
Yeah.
And that's a good old copper RJ45. And then you've also got a single 10 gig SFP plus port for WAN if you have the luxury of ridiculous speeds. 9.
Good on you.
Yeah, absolutely. I wish I had it. I'd take it. 9 LAN ports, 8 of those are standard RJ45, 1 gig, and then you've got a 1 gig, or a 10 gig SFP plus if you need it. If you were connecting multiple buildings, you can have.
Am I seeing this right?
Do I know?
No PoE?
Yes, that what was shocking, and with as much as the price goes up, they took away the PoE.
I don't. That feels like somebody didn't do their job.
Well, I mean, again, this is
where we forgot to put PoE in it.
This is where I say their Apple is coming out.
Jim, what did you do?
We're giving you less. We're making it sound like it's more because it's not just the Pro, it's the Pro Max. So give us more money.
But dadgum.
Yes. Significant throughput increase on the WAN, 5 gigabit per second. And that is with intrusion detection and prevention on. And this was kind of nice. It does add a second hard drive bay for Protect recordings. Yeah. So if you're ever concerned
hot
about
swappable.
Yeah, one of them. You've got one drive and it fails. You're going to lose all your recordings. You could,
which happens. I mean,
unfortunately, yes. Physical drives do die. You can. set this up in a mirror, and then if you lose one, you still maintain your recordings.
Yeah. I did want to mention that the 128 gigs of solid state drive is also really useful for talk, because some of the things that they're doing now with your talk options or your whatever are stored locally, and that's really good.
Yes.
In case something happens. Yep. Okay. I would say good upgrades, but the one downgrade makes it pretty much useless for a lot of things. Now, if you're in a situation where you're changing out, like actually on ours, we're not actually using the PoE on that device that we have.
Correct.
That does not give them a pass for not putting PoE on this. Like, boo.
Yes.
Boo that, especially when you up the power consumption. Like,
correct.
What are you doing?
So to your point, I have the SE here. Uh-huh. There was exactly enough copper ports to plug in everything that I have. Could have leveraged that existing PoE for camera, APs, the whole nine. Mm-hmm. But being an IT guy, that's not good enough.
No.
I had to go buy a 24-port switch with PoE.
Yeah.
So I don't use any of those 8 ports.
Yeah.
But I've got them in case I ever need it.
Yeah.
So
it just feels like that. Man.
Yeah.
Now you've got to.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been that much more for them to throw some PoE in there.
It just doesn't seem like it. Anyway.
No. Okay. So now we move on to one that I have never had a chance to play around with.
No, this
I would love to just to see really test the capabilities.
Yeah.
These
specs.
Yeah, in their enterprise line, they call it the Fortress.
I mean, with a name like Fortress, I feel like the name of Fortress and then the look of the Dream Wall, whenever we get to it, are both like, I mean, I just got a little bit giddy when I saw these two things. But that's, proving that marketing works.
Yep. So this one obviously cranks up the cost. It's $1,999.
Just under $2,000.
Just under. So again, staying in a 1U model, maximum power consumption of 82 watts, but you do get an increase to 500 devices and 5,000 clients. So nice bump there. Again, you've got the touchscreen. Processor significant increase, 18 cores. 18. That's a huge leap. And I guess they've gone away from Cortex. I need to look into it. But this has the ARM V8.2, which makes me think of a V8. And I don't know what the .2 would be for just yet. I'm still trying to figure that out.
No, there's no .2.
Wouldn't that be a V10 if it's 8 plus 2?
.2. No, because it's less than the other 8. It can't be the smaller. The last two cylinders are smaller than the previous 8.
So I've got 8 power cores and 8 power pistons and 2 efficiency pistons.
There you go.
I'll keep working on that.
Oh, remind me to ask you about the 2.7 turbo.
Okay.
Never mind. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so you jump up to 2 gigahertz, 16 gigs of RAM. This does introduce hot swappable power supplies.
Yeah.
That's really nice because others are built in.
Yeah.
Possibly user replaceable. I've never cracked one open just to see.
Yeah.
But the fact that these are user replaceable is a really nice improvement. 6 ports. 2 of them are 25 gigabit SFP28. Basically, that is a piece of coax permanently connected into SFP ports or SFP plugs, if you've ever seen it.
That is really fast.
You've got 2 10 gig SFP plus, and then 2 2.5 gig capable copper RJ45s, and no PoE. For $2,000, you got to give me some PoE. I know there's not a whole lot of copper ports there.
It's called a Fortress.
Yes. So,
I protest.
Yes. Now, granted, if they did give you that, you'd only have PoE for 2 ports. But
I guess
go ahead and give me for the 2 ports.
Yeah.
significant increase in the throughput because you jump up to 12 gigabit per second with intrusion detection and prevention turned on. So if you have the luxury of those crazy high speed internet connections, this guy's got you covered.
Goodness. I mean, that's just insane speed.
Absolutely. I couldn't imagine having that.
Well, I mean, we say that. Here in 5 years, we're going to be like, remember when we thought that was crazy?
We'll see if we get there.
Yeah.
All right.
Just saying, that's the way everything's going now.
Yeah. Yeah. Problem that we have is that we live currently in the spot where nobody has any plan within the next 2 to 4 years, roughly, to build out fiber. They're building all around us.
Just not.
But we're just stuck in that hole. So we'll see.
Need to figure out a way to leverage Jack being right there next to you.
Yes.
Dream Wall.
Right. So yeah, the Dream Wall. This one is intriguing. I love the idea.
If you're in front of a computer, you need to go look this thing up. Just because we're going to talk about it, but you need to see it.
Yeah. Well, if people have a podcasting 2.0 capable app,
that's right. Yeah.
And they're using chapters,
they're going to be able to see.
There will be a picture.
Yeah.
So if you don't have one, podcastapps.com.
I'm just telling you, this it's kind of a crazy
Android, iOS, it's all there.
Yeah. Okay,
so this one is wall mountable, significant size.
So not a 1U.
Not a 1U. No.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, this one is not rack mountable in any way.
Yeah.
Unless you want to put some type of a sliding tray and strap it down.
Yeah, no, that'd be funny.
Yeah, it would. Significant power consumption here, maximum of 532 watts.
Bam!
So that's a huge leap from the previous models. You get a 4.7-inch touchscreen, though.
I also want to say, like, we're going to get down to the bottom, and you're going to see why. Because did not skimp in the area the other ones did. Okay, go ahead. Yep. 4.7-inch touchscreen is a big, used to be a normal size phone.
Yeah.
You remember when that was a phone?
Yes.
Anyway.
Yep. So
quad core.
Yeah. This was what was surprising to me. That Cortex A57 1.7 gig, that's the same thing that's in the router, the Dream router.
Yeah, I think the Dream Wall has been around for a while.
It has. It has. So I guess that's fair. 16 gigs of flash, 4 gigs of RAM, a little low. That same integrated 128 gig SSD.
Yeah.
And it comes with a pre-installed 512 gig SD card.
Yeah.
Again, it does have hot swappable power supplies.
Very important.
Yes. And then you basically have an 18-port switch built in. 17 of those are 2.5 gig copper ports, one 10 gig SFP plus.
Mm-hmm.
You get a really nice PoE budget of 420 watts.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. That should just be across the board.
They were like, you know what you're not adding to this? A rack with another switch on it.
Correct.
For PoE.
Correct.
Because you wouldn't. Anyway.
The nitpicker in me says they could have made it 500. So, 3.5 gig
Chris
throughput.
is never satisfied.
Oh, you can always do a little bit better.
Yeah.
Always. So 3.5 gig throughput with detection and prevention turned on.
Mm-hmm.
And it also has a built-in Wi-Fi 6 AP.
Yeah, so I think that this was like they actually marketed this a while before, and I think that they've done some upgrades without changing the name, because I don't think the first one had Wi-Fi 6, and I don't think the first one had the hot swappable power supplies.
No, I don't think so either.
They have done subtle upgrades to it. I do think we're getting, I mean, especially with the other offerings that they have, we're getting to the point where they probably need to, I mean, it'll be the Dreamwall Ultra Pro Max. But that would be nice. I've wanted a reason, man. I've been like, give me a reason, please, to buy this thing. Because I would love this. That's what I'm talking about. Running everything from one location.
Yep.
And it being in one box. That's awesome.
Yep. If you've got a small business, or even if your home has a centralized closet that you could take advantage of, you could put it right smack in the middle, and you would probably be taken care of.
Just not next to your water heater.
No.
Okay.
No water heater, please.
You've got a subheading here called small but mighty.
Yeah, that's what I call these. And especially the last one. I put the one last
for a
on
reason.
Purpose.
Yeah.
And I'm realizing I didn't put some of the bonuses in, so I'll add it as we go
We're
through
talking
it. So these are fairly new.
Yeah.
These little guys, they are little, fit in the palm of your hand, but they do pack a punch.
They've gone back to the small.
They have.
On some of these, realizing that not everything needs to be a rack-mounted
correct
solution. This Cloud Gateway Max almost looks like an old Mini or an old Apple TV, except it's not the right color.
No, it's not. I'm realizing I left some pricing out too.
But this is tabletop or wall mount. They've got the option to wall mount it. You can do this is the Cloud Gateway Max. You can do 30 devices or 300 users. It has a 16.1 watt max power consumption, and that little 1-inch display that I'm telling you, handier than you think it's going to be.
Yes, it is.
Quad core Cortex A53. It's only 1.5 gigahertz, but for what it's doing is plenty fast. 3 gigs of DDR4 RAM with 2 terabytes of SSD. Now, I mean, can we talk about that coming out of nowhere? There's no way I expected that to be 2 terabytes.
No, I was shocked by that.
I mean, number one, it's a little bitty guy, and also like just blows the other offerings that they have in that area out of the water. But I mean, partially because there's no expansion for it. There's no SD. There's no connecting another drive to it. Like this is what it is. So it's got 5 ports. 4 of them are 2.5 gigabit RJ45, and 2 of them are 2.5 WAN. And then there's a 1.5 gigabit throughput with IDS, IPS.
Yep. All right.
So detection and prevention, very important to know how fast you're running when it's
absolutely
got those extras on top of it.
I'm going to interrupt your presentation.
Oh, you did not.
Beer number 2.
Okay, so beer number 2. Did you actually get through beer number 1?
Yes, I did.
Well, this is a fantastic reward for powering through that nastiness.
Yeah, so this is going back to Trappist. I was on a streak of that for a while. So this is the Chimay. I'm probably going to butcher this. Doree, Dore with kind of tilde thing on it, and then another E. Ale brewed with spices.
I mean, we're for the Trappists.
Yes, we are. I give them money. They give me great beer. They take care of people.
Seems like
it's a win-win.
Just doing God's work.
It's a win-win. This one is 4.8% volume. No blurb. But that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. But I do have one other bonus I'll show you here in just a second.
Mm-hmm.
Customary opening. That's a good one. All right. Here is the special bonus. Sorry, folks. I will put a picture, but you don't get to see it. Sorry.
Oh,
yes,
look at you.
Chimay Goblet.
I mean, that's exactly what you should be drinking that out of.
Absolutely.
You should have chilled it, but
well,
can't have everything.
We're not all Jason Court.
I mean, holy cow, he came prepared, bro.
Yes, he did.
I was not playing around.
He brought beer and gear.
Yeah.
All right.
And beer gear.
And beer gear. That's true.
Okay,
right.
So that while you're pouring out for your homies,
yeah,
that Cloud Gateway Max is $200.
Yes.
So again, I'm telling you, like that's not that's not how much that should cost. I'm just saying.
No, and then just so people know, I did find the Dreamwall. That was $999.
$999.
Right under $1,000 for everything that's included.
I mean, that makes sense. This doesn't make sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Cloud Gateway Max feels like that should be more. Cloud Gateway Ultra.
Yes, I'll let you run with the Ultra, but I'm keeping the Express for me.
No, I'll let you do the Express for sure. The Cloud Gateway Ultra is only $129. So this is another tabletop wall mount, like tiny. It's not tiny, but it's a little guy.
Yep.
30 devices, 300 users, just like the Max. 6.2 watt max power consumption instead of the 16.1 of the Max. It's got the 1-inch display again. It's got the quad-core Cortex A53 again with the 1.5 gigahertz speed. It's 316 gigs of flash.
No, that's a typo. It's 16 gigs.
I was like, I don't think so.
I'll fix it, but that would be amazing.
16 gigs. I was like, no. You don't have a size for the DDR RAM.
Because they didn't give it to me.
Cool. Well, that's not right. Okay, so 16 gigs of flash and then an unknown amount of RAM. Interesting. And then the 5 ports, 4 of them being 1 gig RJ45, and then one being 2.5.
Google says 3 gig.
So that's where the 3 went instead of in front of the 16.
Perhaps.
Okay, so 16 gigs of flash, 3 gigs of DDR4 RAM.
Yep.
And then 1 gigabit throughput with the detection and prevention. I'm just saying, like, Ultra probably would do a lot for most people.
Absolutely.
That Max, though, I feel like that's where you want to be. If you're gonna pony up for the Gateway Ultra, I feel like you just go for the Max.
Okay.
Unless there's some reason not to, but it doesn't seem like there would be.
We'll see if you feel the same way once we talk about what the Express can do.
No, so we're not talking about the Express yet. I'm talking about these two things that are very, in my mind, this is not, anyway, go ahead.
Correct. So
Unifi Express.
Real quick, just because I don't have it on here listed, the Max and the Ultra can run the full Unifi OS.
Yeah, so, that's important to, sorry.
Yeah, that's important to let you know. So again, that's all the network, protect, access, talk, the whole 9, all the capabilities that the Dream Machines had baked into these.
And really important for why you would want, in my mind, why you would want the 2 terabytes of the Max if you were going to get the Ultra.
Absolutely, yeah, because there's no other way to really expand the storage there. I
mean, you're toast. You're just done after 16 gigs. I don't understand why you, anyway. It's fine. There's somebody I'm sure the Ultra is exactly what somebody needs, but I would get the Max. Go ahead.
Okay. Unifi Express. This one has got me excited. I'm considering this for my parents. I'm also considering it for my in-laws. Now, my in-laws have a slightly bigger house, so they may need a second access point. So let's get into sorry, I'm scooting around the mic here.
He's so excited he's not able to sit still.
I can't sit still. Oh, I guess real quick. The Doree, very smooth, but again, it's only 4.8%. The spice is kind of nice.
Okay.
I could see this on like a cold winter night.
Okay. It's got a little bit of bite, but not bitter.
Yeah. It's tasty.
Tasty.
Okay. It's tasty. Okay, so back to
Here we go.
So Unifi Express, the only thing it runs is the network app.
See, this is why you're excited about this, and I'm not as excited about this. Go ahead.
Yeah, but just wait. I'm not done yet. I'm not dead yet. So I know some of you are going, it only runs network. Why would I want that? Because that's all you need. Especially and when you think about my folks, my in-laws,
Right.
Network
these
is
are
all
these
they
are
need.
these are people that you're doing IT for.
Correct.
Not your house, someone else's house.
So the same tabletop capable setup or wall mount, however you want to set that up. 50 devices, perfect for home. They don't tell you on the site or anything that I could find a total number of users. But again, you're not going to probably put this in a business. I wouldn't recommend it in a business. This is great for home. You just want to have network and you just want it to work and get out of the way. Yes. 10 watts of maximum power consumption. So it's just kind of sipping on that power. You get a 1-inch display. We'll get into more of that in a minute. It can have multiple use cases.
Really?
Yes. Just wait. The good stuff is coming.
Okay.
Quad core, Cortex A53, 1 gigahertz, 4 gigs of flash, 1 gig of RAM. I know that's not a whole lot, but all it's doing is network. It's not doing phones. It's not doing video. It's not doing access control.
It needs to be able to do a backup. That's what it needs to be able to do.
Yes. I mean, you do cloud backup, and you're good.
That's true.
5 ports, so you do have a little bit of a switch in there. Why would I?
This again would be handy if you are.
I'm sorry.
Adding a.
Not 5, 2.
2 ports, but this is handy. Those 2 ports are handy if you are adding a.
Additional AP, additional switch.
AP.
Yes. So both of them are 1 gig. One is LAN, one is WAN. Full 1 gig throughput. Intrusion detection, intrusion prevention. You're welcome to fact check me on that.
There's no
they don't
tax.
say specifically. I did a little bit of Google search. The only thing I can find is on Reddit. I know that's not a great source,
right?
But considering what it has, I feel comfortable with saying that it can handle 1 gig.
Wow. Okay.
It has a built-in AP. This is where it starts to get fun. Wi-Fi 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Wi-Fi 7's out there, but Wi-Fi 6 is
got to start somewhere.
Just good.
Yeah.
Just good. Okay. So here's where it starts to get a little fun. This thing doesn't just have to behave as the router/cloud key. This thing can be an AP. You can add this to your existing site in Site Manager as an access point.
What does that get you?
A couple of different things. It could basically be a network extender.
Okay.
It can serve as a network bridge.
Oh.
So think about that. You've got, well, I'm talking about my folks and my in-laws. So this, well, my in-laws have this for the grandkids.
Right.
You've got a PlayStation. Just a little out of reach.
Yeah.
You grab one of these. It hops in as a repeater, basically as a bridge. And now you can wire in that PlayStation if you want.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let that percolate and work for a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's where the screen differences come in. If it's controlling everything, it looks one way. If it's acting as an access point, it starts giving you AP information.
Huh.
Yeah. This is an intriguing little device. $150.
Huh.
$150. I don't remember what you paid for that repeater, the dedicated repeater or extender that we got from Unifi.
That's true.
But I bet this was cheaper.
Yeah, I think it was more like $250 for the repeater.
But I didn't know that feature existed, so I couldn't have told you, hey, don't spend that, buy this. But now I know.
Yeah.
So the next time you need an extender, I'm going to tell you to go buy one of these.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so this is an interesting little toy. It's very versatile in what it can do. Again, it's only network, and I understand that for some folks that may be a deal breaker. But when my mom and dad want tech support, I want to move them into this.
Yeah.
Because they've got my old Netgear Nighthawk, great router, but I can't help them from home. If I move them into this, I can add them to Site Manager. I can do whatever I need to do.
And it might be like it'd be another option for somebody who had like an in-law suite on their house or something like that.
Absolutely. So, like my folks, they have a fairly small house, 3-bedroom, but still kind of small.
Yeah.
One of these would be sufficient. My in-laws, that's a different story. They've got 4-bedroom.
So this is more like 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, that's probably a safe number. Yeah. My in-laws are basically double that. They're in the ballpark of 3,000 square feet, 4-bedroom, 3 baths. They have the mother-in-law suite built into the house.
Oh wow!
So when you come in from the garage, you've got a bedroom with a full bathroom, and then you've got 2 more bedrooms with a bath, and then the master suite on the back. So they could put one of these in their living room, put one of these in that 4th bedroom by the garage. They can cover their whole house. Because of the placement for them, there'll be plenty of bleed over into the back, into their covered patio area. $300, they get their whole house covered. Tons of Wi-Fi. That's what they want. Wi-Fi 6. They're not worried about cameras. They're not worried about access control. They don't care about the phone. All they want is functional internet.
Yeah, that'd be pretty huge. And right now I don't have a system for my parents yet, so I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm picking up what you're throwing down here.
Yes,
I could give them something not as expensive as what I would buy for myself.
Correct,
and still be able to. Yeah,
and depending on the layout of their house and where their copper ports may be for, I'm assuming they're using Optimum Suddenlink probably for internet. If you could get this thing more central in the home, obviously you can try to get a better coverage scenario. But if it's a little bit bigger of a house, 2 of these at $300, that's still not bad.
No, that's not bad at all.
And you can remotely manage it.
And
remote you can see what's going on,
bro.
You can go, hey, turn your microwave off.
I mean, it's just there's so many things that like. The older we get, like I don't want to have to go everywhere that I'm being asked to go.
Correct.
It's not handy for me to leave the baseball game. I got to be able to help you from where I am.
Yep. And that's one thing that we haven't really talked about today is how feature rich the mobile app is.
Yeah, this is a big deal.
Far more feature rich than Meraki. And I love Meraki. I am a die-hard Meraki guy, especially on access points. But the Unifi app, mobile app, is so much more feature-rich than the Meraki app even pretends to be. There are very few things that you can't do from the Unifi mobile app. Very, very few. Because you can even go into a lot of the back-end pieces for management firmware of the actual device. Look at some of your storage pieces that are there. Look at some of your subscriptions that are there. That doesn't require you to go into a browser. So the mobile app is a solid app.
I'm just saying, I think that they've got a lot of flexibility for us.
They absolutely do.
And feeling better and better about decisions I've made.
Yes. Now, I would say that they probably could benefit from some reduction in SKUs.
Yeah.
Some of these models don't need to exist. In particular, I
think what I've appreciated is because they're kind of staying in their lane, it's given them the ability to go deeper in that, and not really have a problem, but I do think you're right. I think for the health of the company, that'd probably be a good idea. As long as you keep giving us PoE options.
Yes. So, I mean, like these last 3 we talked about, I think you just drop the Ultra. You have the Max, you have the Express.
Yeah, I don't know why you would have the Ultra. I mean, I do know why you have the Ultra. It's a price point thing.
Sure.
For some reason, $129
but for
or $150
more, just spend it and get the AP.
I mean, but for real, and that $200 price point for what the Max gives you, I feel like is like that. That's what you want. even if you buy the other one right now, I think probably you're going to be selling that one and buying the Max before long.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
And if you just wanted network, go for the...
Yeah.
Anyway.
If I was talking to them and giving them my 2 cents, drop the Ultra, replace it with the Express, add an AP to the Max, bump it up that extra $20 for the AP, and do you want the Ultra, the small lightweight guy for home, or do you want the Max that's a little small but still powerful for that small business?
Yeah, and I want to know why the Fortress doesn't have PoE.
Well, the Fortress really, they're introducing it as more of a dedicated firewall.
No, and I want to know why it doesn't have PoE.
But again, because they're presenting it.
No, because even like you're gonna put a camera on something called the Fortress.
Yes.
Don't tell me you're not gonna put a camera on that.
You're making me think of that stupid ooh girl. I don't want that in my head. I don't want that. If you know what I'm talking about. Do you know the video? So you're no, because she does that silly voice and she goes, no.
Yeah.
So
that's hilarious.
Trying to speak for Unifi, they're really trying to portray the Fortress as the previous non-Unifi OS line, just a firewall. Crazy, beefy firewall. That's why they didn't put PoE in. I think I'm not going to argue with you. They should have put it in there. I know it would only be useful on 2 ports, but you should have put it there anyways. For almost $2,000, you could throw me 60 watts of PoE.
I'm just saying, like, unless you're thinking about using those ports for something that I'm not thinking about using them for, just like you're going to have this. I don't mean to sound paranoid, but like you're going to have something called the Fortress. I'd like to put a camera in that room.
Fair enough.
Just me? Okay. No, that's fine. If it's fair. Just me, that's fine.
Fair. Well, Unifi, you need to come talk to us.
Gotta buy an 8-port.
Gotta think of the name of our consulting company.
Yikes.
Yeah, come talk to us, Unifi. We got you covered.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so that wraps up gateways.
Yeah.
At least for the moment. I'm sure there'll be something new.
I mean, around the corner. There's been so many new things lately. We got to get...
Absolutely.
Got to get into all the new at some point.
It's getting hard to keep up with them in the way that they're churning stuff out.
And it's not just them. There's so many new right now. That's the way the fall always goes. But it's also getting expensive to keep up with the new.
Yeah.
Too many toys.
Next, I'd like to talk switches, but I feel like switches has got I don't know how you put that together. I don't know if that's a couple different shows or what, because they have so many switches. It's ridiculous.
Well, I feel like if it would be good to break it up, just because I feel like there's we probably need to revisit layers. So you get that. That's true. Get that burrito.
7-layer burrito.
get that burrito. Get the burrito notes out, and we'll kind of split it up based on that.
Yeah, because they've got the standard line, they've got the pro line, they've got the enterprise line, they have aggregation, they have enterprise XG, they have the light series, they have the minis and the flex. I mean, there's so many options there. So we'll figure out how to break that one up, but I feel like that's kind of that next progression is going to switches, and then from there to AP and cameras and so on, as we kind of keep this Unifi series going.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Are you listening, Unifi?
I mean,
come on.
Gotta
get that social media going.
For all those people in Australia.
Yeah. Yeah, so I do need to get you the most recent artwork that was done, because some of it is specific.
We got new artwork.
Yeah, new artwork. It was in the most recent show. If you took a peek at it.
Oh, yeah. No, I did see that. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
But
That's
then
great.
they also sent me the artwork that is made specific for social media.
Okay.
So if we really want to run down that rabbit hole, we've got it.
Got to at some
It
point.
looks like that's the way to try to get these people to notice you and send you some product for reviews.
All for it.
So whether you do, I don't know if you do Facebook for the old people over 40.
I mean, we are over 40, Chris. I feel like we at least got to start there.
Just because there's some white in here, that doesn't mean I'm old. that has children's names on it. Some of those have my wife's name written on it.
I got a few tiny ones over here where he likes to point them out. And then the ones in my beard that she says are gray. And I'm like, no, they're blonde. I'm going back to my blonde days.
Well, that's the thing. You look at pictures of me from 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. This was not this color. Start getting that just for men and brush that stuff in.
Yeah, man. No, please don't do that.
Yeah,
the guys that I've seen do that, I just no. Just age gracefully, guys. Just roll that's for women.
Yeah.
No, stop doing it.
If I can live with my back and looking like Quasimodo, I can live with a little white hair on my face.
Oh my gosh!
So,
you don't look like Quasimodo until you try to turn around.
Well, or if you see me from the side.
Okay.
It's like, oh yeah. But hey, it's a baked-in Halloween costume every year.
Every year.
Every year, I tell Michelle, you go as Esmeralda, I'll go Quasimodo.
I love it.
We're good. And every year, she's like, no, I don't want to do that.
She'd make a great gypsy. Yes. She'd make a great gypsy.
She would.
She's kind of a gypsy anyway. So
she's got the dark hair and the brown eyes and the complexion to pull it off.
Absolutely. No, she's easy.
Oh, yeah. She's got it made.
I did not just call your wife easy. I'm sorry. I was meaning that was an easy... we're just going to stop talking.
That way. Now I have to tell her to listen to the show.
Oh, my gosh. Please don't.
She doesn't listen to any of them, so you can say whatever you want. She's never going to hear this.
Okay. I mean, mine either. So, any boostograms?
No boostergrams, no.
Well, Jason was on the show, so who's going to boost?
We'll cut him some slack.
No big deal.
So, that's it. Hopefully this was, I would say, entertaining.
I mean, it's always entertaining for me.
Hopefully it was...
But I'm drinking, so...
informational. There you go. Hopefully this is informational for those of y'all out there.
Yeah.
Not too much stuck in the stats.
Oh, absolutely, it's stuck in the stats, but I feel like we've got to be able to talk about why these things are different from each other and what why that matters, like when it matters, why it matters, that type of thing. Like there's a bunch of stats you can just rattle through and then be like, well, but which one? And it's like, no, this is what matters. Yep. This is why we can say things like, don't buy the Ultra. Just read those stats for you, and I'm telling you.
Yep.
Don't buy the Ultra.
Skip it. Express or Max.
Express or Max.
And what I really love is that
maybe Express and Max.
Maybe, yes, because you could buy the Express, be the heavy lifter, use the Express, or use the Max for the heavy lifter. Express is the AP extender. You're in a good spot.
I feel like that's anyway.
It's a win. It's a win. And I love the fact that we've touched quite a few of these devices so we can actually give real world feedback.
Using the UI on a very regular basis.
Correct.
I mean, daily basis.
And I'm seriously considering buying the Express for my folks for Christmas.
No, I think that's a great idea. I mean...
Now, they may not think of it as a great Christmas gift, but I'm going...
Whatever. It's a Christmas gift for me. I'm gonna get my parents some coasters to go with it. But
yes, it's an indirect Christmas gift.
That's funny. Anyway.
It's really for me, but you get to use it.
You get to use it. It's going to be good for you because I'm going to help you when I'm not here.
Correct.
Anyway. Thanks, bro. Appreciate hanging out with you.
Enjoyed
always.
It. Yeah, it was good to get back on one of these.
I guess we'll catch you next time.
Yep, sounds good. See you, everybody.
See you. or it's not. That's fine. We'll just cut this part.
Yeah, we'll cut it in post.